Nico, great to see you. Can't believe it's almost a year since you were on the pole in Brazil, and I suppose that thought is rattling around in your mind as well.
Not so much, to be honest, because I'm not looking to the past. I'm looking ahead to the future, to be honest with you, and working hard to secure a race drive for next year again, and that's where my focus is at the moment.
Well, you've said that, but just tell me what the year's been like, because it's a very unusual circumstance to take the pole for a race and then not drive at all in Formula One the following year. You're a young guy at the threshold of your career. What was it like over the winter, first of all, mentally preparing for not racing?
It was only around Christmas time when I knew definitely that I will not be racing in 2011, and obviously that was very tough to deal with initially, after having done quite a good job in 2010, not just the pole position in Brazil, which was the highlight, but there was many other good weekends I had. So it took a bit of time to get used to that thought and learn how to deal with it. But then I thought to myself, you can't be negative all year long now. You got to somehow get on with it, work your way through it. At least I got a lot of Friday practice, which I'm happy about, and thankful for the team. They've given me these opportunities, to stay sharp, to stay in there, get to use the curves, the Pirelli tires, and all that stuff, which kept me in there really.
Tell us what your weekend is like at the moment when you are doing a Friday. What's the rest of the weekend like after that, from your point of view?
Basically, I follow very closely what our guys do on the circuit. Most of the times I'm at the pit wall connected with the intercom, so I hear all the radio communication. I see some data. I watch our lap times. I watch what their comments are. Sometimes speak with their engineers, suggest some settings or changes we could possibly do. And I'm involved in all the meetings and strategy meetings and all that. I follow it. Pick up every information which is valuable for me, and keep that in my mind.
What do you think about Paul di Resta?
I think Paul has done very well this year. I like him. He's a good guy as a teammate. I think generally we have a good relationship within all three of us in the team. But I think he's done a lot of good races this year and impressed me, especially at the beginning of the year, where he came in as a rookie and did not a mistake till I can't remember which race it was where his first mistake was, but it was pretty damn late. And I thought that is a pretty good score.
And Adrian,
again, if you look at our qualifying competitions between the two, it's almost, I'm not sure if it's the closest between two teammates, but I'm pretty sure it's not far off that, because each time it's just like half a tenth or a tenth. It's minor things, minor mistakes, which separate them. It's very tough. Adrian obviously is in his fifth year of his career. Doing a good job for the team as well. I think we're just struggling generally in the beginning of the year with our car. It didn't perform the way we wanted to, but the engineers have done a fantastic job in the wind tunnel to turn that around. In Adrian's case, obviously he picked up the performance after, I don't know, maybe 1/3 of the season he got better and better, but maybe it was just Paul performing well and putting him under pressure why he didn't look as good initially. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's down to Pirelli tires.
You mentioned the wind tunnel then and the development that's been going on. The team, in terms of its budget, its facilities, in terms of the way it's grown, it's done an amazing job this year. It's really punched over its weight relative to, say, Mercedes Grand Prix.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think Force India as a team has done quite an amazing job with what you say, with the facility, with the budget, with the resources we have. As I said, at winter testing we were all quite disappointed and down and thought, we had a terrible year ahead. But, after 2, 3, 4 events, we turned it around. The guys brought some really good updates to the car with the blown floor, especially. And, they really proved that they can turn a bad car around and make it a good car. And, many times we were the best of the rest. We even beat Mercedes a couple of times this year and picked up a lot of nice points this year.
And you've, not that you really wanted to do it this way, but you've been able to get to know the team in a way that perhaps other drivers can't, because you're spending a lot of time with the team in other areas, particularly with meetings and sponsorship functions and things like that. And from the outside looking in, it looks like a great team because you lost a lot of good people. Engineers seem to leave, and yet you've recovered well. The team's going well. And Vijay's done a great job to pull in a major sponsor in India at a time when a lot of Formula One teams seem to be struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that was obviously fantastic news for us that, Roy Sahara joined the team. And now is a chairman as well. Sahara Force India, it's the new name. So, I think it's pretty good news to have such a powerful new partner on board, which hopefully sticks with us for many, many years and gives us a financial boost as well, which, only can help the team.
So here we have you working hard with the Indians. Whoever would have thought a couple of years ago that this would be your destiny and that you would start to get to know that country and the culture and the people?
Yeah, this year I've done a couple of trips to India, and it's been quite an adventure and quite interesting. I've never been to India before, so, sometimes, or first time when we went to Mumbai before Melbourne, you see some slums and stuff like that, and, 50 meters later there's a nice villa or something. There's quite big contrasts in India, but generally I always felt safe in India, on the streets, never been frightened. The people are very welcoming, very friendly. To foreign peoples, so I have a lot of good memories from this year traveling to India.
And they love their sport.
They certainly love cricket, and hopefully we can make them love Formula One and motorsport as well.
Another thing Vijay's done, which is really interesting, and also in the context perhaps of young American drivers, is this Indian Driver Academy that he's started and that you've been involved with. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's called the FIDA, the Force India Driver Academy. The team and Vijay launched that in the beginning of the year. I believe it was April time when we launched that program. Basically, we had a number of guys traveling for many, many months all over India at different kart circuits. Having a look at many thousand kids. Kids could just come, sign up for it, and have a go at the go-kart. And we had certain judges and team members, who kept an eye out for who's competitive, who's not. Obviously, looked at lap time, and that's the way it worked. And basically, for many, many thousands all over India, we filtered them through, down to 1,000, down to 500, down to 100, and now we're down to the final 10 contenders, and they're now in Silverstone this week for the final week. We're doing a lot of assessments with them. Obviously, I act as a judge together with Anthony Hamilton. Robert Fernley, and obviously Vijay is having a word as well, and I think it's a fantastic program. I wish to have such support from a Formula One team or the country or whatever you want to call it, because the guy who wins it is pretty lucky and gets some serious help.
Well, so far from your perspective, what's it like being a judge?
It's been pretty cool. I like the program, as I said, and now that we are down to the final 10. You can start building a relationship with the kids. You get to know them a lot more. Spend the last 3 days with them. Had dinners with them. So it's quite nice. To see their attitude, their characters. Try to help them as well, and in some ways, try to perform. Give them some insight or some experience. I had some help.
How, at this early stage, how accurate can you be in terms of how quick one is relative to another?
I think it's not so easy to tell because we never saw them compared to some European drivers, but we have to pick the best one out of them, and we're not looking for speed. Obviously, performance, natural speed and talent is very important, and you must have that to perform in racing. But it's just more than that. We're looking for a whole package for the best kit with the best package, really.
And what factors are you looking for yourself? What can you bring to the table in terms of your understanding of the art?
For commitment from them, the level of commitment, what they put in, how much they really want this, the determination, and their discipline, really.
Nico, we started by talking about Brazil. Brazil is coming up. What's it going to be like for you when you go back to Brazil on Friday? You go out in the Force India. It is going to bring back memories, and it is an ironic situation. It's a great circuit. Just tell us about that lap that you did last year. Relive it for us.
It was, it was a mega lap, but it was teamwork as well. I think, the team gave me a perfect car for these conditions. The engineer has put in some very good tire pressures. And obviously it was mixed conditions. It was wet, it was intermediate conditions, and then for Q3 it started drying and drying more. I wasn't the first car out on slicks. I was actually, I think, the last car to put the slicks on and go out, and I knew I had to get the temperature in the tires somehow, so I went out and I was very aggressive with it, similar to a car, always drifting, sliding, going on throttle mad, braking, just get some temperature in these tires. And lap by lap it went just better and better, and the grip came, the track dried a bit more, I learned the circuit, some corners were wetter than others, and it just in these 10 minutes in the Q3, or the final 5 minutes, just everything fitted perfectly for me. And especially that lap, which got me pole position by more than a second to P2, was just a perfect lap under these conditions. I couldn't have done it better. My engineer wouldn't tell me at the time my position. He just said, "You're doing well, just carry on doing what you're doing." And that is what I was doing. I was putting all my concentration in and pulling a great lap, and it worked.
When you got towards the end of the lap, as good as it felt, was there any temptation to take it a little bit easier going into that last left-hander in case you blew it, or were you flat out everywhere?
That was actually the key to take speed out for the last corner, because that was one of the wettest corners still on the circuit. So every lap before I was braking a little bit too late, missing the apex and having a bad exit. And knowing Brazil, it's a long straight up that hill there. So actually in that final lap, I had to push myself to brake earlier, roll the car in nicely, which worked perfectly, and stayed perfectly on the line, had a perfect exit, and all the way up to start and finish I could see my lap time getting faster and faster. I wasn't frightened, but it was like just stunned. I couldn't get a word out, and it was just like, wow, what have we just done? It was pretty special.
Nico, it's been great talking to you. Great to see you again.
Thank you.
And let's hope we see you racing again next year. If anybody deserves it in Formula One, it is you. No question about that.